There's a rumor going around that Trevor Holt has the biggest you-know-what.
Skip, YouTube, stop showing me this ad. I don't want to download Hooked. Anyway, now I can watch my video. What did they mean his you-know-what? I don't know what, and frankly, I don't appreciate the assumption that I would. Whatever. I'm not gonna let this ruin my day off. I'm having a great time, so I'm just gonna enjoy my video. I'm not gonna think about the weird app and their cryptic language. I don't need to figure it out. Oh, they were talking about his dick. Oh, okay. I get it now. Now, Hooked is very good at advertising. I've downloaded the Hooked app multiple times, and I always delete it because it's never what I was expecting. I have seen so many ads for Hooked and so many different types of ads. They're really trying everything. It started with the stories. I've seen them kind of do like FaceTime versions of that, but they're acted really poorly.
Are you sure it was him? Yeah.
But this one's the first I've seen that has this level of production to it. It almost doesn't feel like the same app at all. It feels like I'm seeing an ad for like a new Netflix show, but one that's also porn. Like this is very much the beginning of a porn. And because of that, I think it pretty much goes without saying that I did download the app again because I had to see what the app is all about. So the first thing that happens when you download the Hooked app is they ask you if you want a scary story or a romantic story. Because those are the only two types of stories. So obviously I picked romantic because I'm invested in what's going on with Trevor. And if you do that, here is what happens. They immediately start playing the story they know that you came here for, which is great. But it cuts off right as it's panning down. They cut you off and say, no. If you want to see that, you gotta sign up. Well, that's fine. I'll just sign up to a membership. And look, I'm getting 7 days free. And then after that, it's only $4.99 a week. Are you kidding? That's like $250 for the year. Don't worry though, there is a more cost-effective way to sign up for a year of the Hooked app. If you do a whole year all at once, it's only $40. Which sure, in comparison to $250, yeah, I guess that's better. A monthly subscription is $15. So you're telling me I could either spend $15 a month on Netflix and watch every show and every movie, or I could spend the same price on this, the Hooked app. But of course I'm invested. I've seen this ad cut off so many times. I've seen this shot just a few seconds ago, so I have to see what comes right after it. So I'm gonna sign up for the 7 days free so I can at least watch this story and figure it out. And I'm definitely not going to forget that I signed up for a free trial and I'm going to cancel before they charge me because I've never done that before where I've signed up for a free trial and then forgot and then paid for HBO Now for 4 months. I've never done that before. Anyway, let's watch the rest of this story now.
In school. And here he is, standing outside my dorm room, naked.
Wait, it's the same as the ad that I've already seen. That's what I signed up for. Oh wait, no. Okay, looks like it's about a 15-minute movie. That's good. I'm sure this will be entertaining.
What are you doing?
Okay, let me sum up this movie for you. Trevor comes in, he's butt-ass naked. He asks Martha, the main character, to lie to this other girl and say that he's not here, even though he is. Apparently, he's hiding from this girl because
she jumped me in the shower.
But anyway, Martha hides him. And he's like, thanks for hiding me under your bed. Now I owe you a favor. And she knows exactly what to do.
What can I do you for, Martha?
Drew Longhorn.
Drew Longhorn.
Yeah, Drew Longhorn.
That's the name of her crush. And also the name of my alter ego, who is a cowboy.
I want to kiss Drew Longhorn.
Don't we all? But anyway, he's like, okay, well, I owe you one, so I'll help you get on a date with Drew Longhorn. And here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna show up to a party, and I'm gonna pretend to be your boyfriend, and then he's gonna be jealous, and then he'll want to be your boyfriend. Wait, I just watched a Netflix movie with this same exact plot.
I don't know the first thing about apps. Unless it's the blooming onion at Outback Steakhouse.
Speaking of movie cliches, on the way to the party, he's giving her all these pointers about how to get a guy to pay attention to you. You know, things like smile at him, make eye contact. And this is all such a foreign idea to her. Wait a minute. you're telling me all this time I was supposed to be looking at guys and giving them a little smile? Because what I was doing was turning my back to him and farting on his face. But this does seem like a better plan.
Sure.
Now, you're not gonna believe what happens next. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but it turns out that Drew Longhorn, the guy she thinks she likes, is actually a douchebag. So she's very distraught, and as a result, this happens. Wow, I'm surprised I didn't need to get a stunt double for that fall. That was intense. I'm sorry to spoil the ending for you, but what happens next is that she ends up with Trevor.
The guy with the biggest, you know what.
Isn't that crazy, guys, that they end up together? I didn't think that they would.
And me. The virgin.
It's a cute little movie, I guess. I'm not sure if it warrants its own IMDb page, but that certainly didn't stop them. The thing is, like, obviously I'm not the target audience for this movie. I could see someone enjoying this. There's a decent production value. If they made a whole bunch of these and put them on an app, I could totally see the value in charging a monthly fee, sure. But this isn't what the app is. There's one video on the whole app, and we just watched it. So even if you loved the short film and wanted to see more, you couldn't. That's it. You've already watched the entire app. You gotta read the rest. Which, again, there is absolutely value in having unlimited access to what looks like a few hundred short stories, if the stories are good. So let's read a few of them. Literally the first story that I ever read on Hooked is insane. It's called Panty Raid, and it's these two guy friends texting each other back and forth. One of them is in a girl's closet. Okay, I'm situated in the back of her closet. You sure she won't find you? Not a chance. Got the cam? Yep, already recording. When is she coming? Should be soon. She usually gets home by this time. You really stalked her, huh? For the money, man, for the money. Wait, I just noticed their names are Jim and Roy. Is the girl's name Pam, by any chance? Oh, here she comes. Get some good footage. Try my best. She's the hottest girl in the whole school. That has to be the lamest thing you've ever said. What, how? What, how? Just shut up. Yeah, shut up, she's here. She might hear your texting. Damn, she is hot. Getting a good angle? Can't wait to see it. Haven't even gotten to the good part yet. What's she doing? Texting to someone? She's just texting to someone. Boring! Wait, she head into the bathroom. Yes! Get the shot! Shit, she closed the bathroom door. You have to find a way to see her. Hold on. Hopefully she doesn't lock it. Come on, man. Okay, I hear the shower. Hurry! Relax, Jim. Good lord. Turn in the handle. Cracked it a little bit. I think all is good. Okay, hold on. He's texting Jim with one hand. He's making sure to text constant updates. Then he's holding the camera with the other hand, and then I guess with his third hand, that's how he opened the door. Well, what does she look like? Hard to see. Have to wait till she comes out of the shower. Damn! You horny son of a... Ew. What? Okay, and then this is where it somehow gets even weirder. There's weird white flakes all over the bathroom floor, almost like dead skin. I don't care about that. I want to see that sexy bod. I have the camera rolling in my third hand, but the shower screen is all fogged up. You can't see anything? Just an outline, really. Quite the tease. Can you tell how effing gorgeous she is? Okay, seriously, who is this Jim guy? What is this situation? Yeah, but what? This weird dead skin. It's not dead skin! She's flawless! Shower stopped. Wait, she's gonna get out soon. Oh, this is where it gets good! You lucky bastard! Got the camera ready, and... Oh shit. Well? Is she amazing? No. What? What's happening? What do you mean, no? Looks like she's got some sort of disease. Huh? Brown sores all over her body, with dead skin peeling from them. You have to be kidding. Actually, her body's repulsive. I can't even tell if she's a girl. Weird thing is, she doesn't have... Wet! She doesn't have wet! Well, nipples. or a belly button. What? You have to be kidding! Ew. What now? She's peeling her skin. Oh, I want to vomit. You have the camera, right? You're getting this. Jim is still as horny now as he was earlier. Unfortunately, I gotta see this to believe. Not sure you want to. How's she doing that? Doing what? Peeling back her skin like it's nothing. Shit. She's taking off her skin. No blood is coming out. It's like she's taking off her skin and the brown sores are now her body. What the fuck? I have to get out of here. Wait. OMG. What? I have to leave. What's happening? Ow. Just stubbed my toe. Shit, did she hear me? So did he say ow and text ow? Oh no, Roy. It heard me. It? Shit. Roy, what's going on? Call someone. She's not who we thought. It's after me. Who's after you? Roy? Hello? Roy! And that's Panty Raid. LOL, I want to see the video he took. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't a happy ending for Roy, because he was kind of being a perv. I wish Jim had the same outcome, though. I feel like he gets away scot-free. So that's kind of a bummer. The next one I read is called Poison, and this one has some crazy plot twists. So in this one, Eve is texting her friend Bree, concerned, thinking that her boyfriend is poisoning her because she has all these symptoms, and it only happens whenever she sleeps over at his house and he cooks her dinner. Which, okay, let's just say he is poisoning her, right? He's using poison. He's putting poison in her food. Wouldn't she be dead by now? What kind of shitty ass poison did this guy buy that it's just giving her a headache? That's really shitty poison. What, did he buy it from like a garage sale? Now this is where it's also revealed that Eve is an aspiring author. She's been writing a lot of books throughout the years, but none of them have been able to get published. She's still like trying to figure it out, but she's working on a book now that Dan is not too fond of. So her friend Bree is like, all right, you should go to the doctor, and if they find any poison in your system, then we'll use that as evidence against Dan. 4 hours later. Oh my God, Bree. What? My blood test came back. After 4 hours? She's got a good doctor. My blood test came back, and they're positive for cyanide. Wait, he's been putting cyanide in her food? Cyanide? And she's just like getting headaches? I had to double check this because I was pretty sure she would have died instantly. And yeah, if you have cyanide in your system, you'll die in like 2 minutes. And she's just feeling woozy. But okay. So we'll just accept that she has cyanide in her system. That's what we're gonna go with here. Oh my God, I'm so sorry I doubted you, Eve. What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna call the cops? Not yet. This just proves that someone was trying to poison me, not that Dan tried to poison me. Jesus Christ, Eve. He could argue I was doing this to myself. I need airtight evidence so that he can go to jail for a long time. This sounds dangerous. You need any help? Don't worry. I have a plan. Okay, so what happens next is Dan comes over. He makes her dinner once again, and she's suspicious, of course, so she only pretends to eat the food. Which I guess Dan doesn't notice that she's pretending to eat. Good sandwich, honey. Babe, I can see that you're not actually holding anything. Yummy sandwich. I made spaghetti. Occasionally what she does is she takes bites and stores them in her cheeks. You know, like a squirrel. So I'm pretty sure now that this is a story about squirrels. So she stores it in her cheeks and then goes to the bathroom and spits it out into a plastic bag. But before she can hide it, Dan walks in. What are you doing? Nothing. Is that your chewed up dinner inside that bag? Eve's heart pounds. She's trapped in this bathroom and Dan knows she's onto him. Gosh, Eve. If you didn't like my cooking, you could have just said so. I think we both know what this is really about, Dan. You're poisoning me. What? Don't play dumb with me. I have blood tests to prove it. Seriously, is this a joke? You put cyanide in my food, Dan. Don't deny it. Dan shakes his head. All that writing has officially made you crazy. Bye, Eve. Good luck with your book. Okay. He like barely tried to deny it and then he just left, but we're still going. Bree, I need your help. Dan knows I'm onto him. Can you come over? I'm scared he'll come back. I'll be right there. 10 minutes later, Bree arrives at Eve's house. She finds Eve in her office bent over her computer. Thought you might need this. She waggles a bottle of wine at Eve. You know me too well. Grab a seat. I'm bringing up the nanny cam footage. Why didn't you call the police? Because without this footage, it's just my word against his. He'll just say I'm poisoning myself, or that someone else did it. So I need to find the moment he put the poison in. With that, my blood tests, and the tainted dinner he tried to feed me, I'll have enough evidence to convince any jury that Dan was poisoned. Wow, that's really smart, Eve. So they watch the videos. They watch the whole 2 hours of footage over the bottle of wine, but nothing happens. He doesn't slip anything in her food. He doesn't sneak away. He acts like a totally normal, doting boyfriend. It doesn't make sense. Maybe something tipped him off? That's possible. Maybe he saw your text messages to me. I did leave my phone. Eve's words trail off. She's suddenly very woozy. She can't seem to finish her sentence. Eve looks at her empty glass of wine, the wine that Bree brought for them to share. Except Bree's glass is still full. Did Bree even drink the wine? The puzzle pieces start to click together. You! Poisoned me! Took you long enough to figure it out. It doesn't say slow clap there, but I just feel like her character would in that moment. Why? And this right here, guys, is the twist of the century. In the corner of the office, Eve's printer flares to life. Pages upon pages begin shooting out of the printer. Eve's book. You were right about your book, Eve. Or should I say, about my book. It's going to be the biggest bestseller the world has ever seen! She killed her friend to steal her book and take credit for it. Her friend, who is not an established author, who has never written a successful book in her entire career, she killed her so that she could say that she wrote the book and she's gonna become rich from the book. It's incredible. It's poetic. It's the perfect crime. Steal a book from someone who's never written a successful book and risk going to jail forever by doing so. That's amazing. So I guess the question now is the Hooked app worth $15 a month? No. I will say, going through all the stories, there were a couple good ones, especially the horror stories tend to be a little bit more engaging than any of the others. Actually, the ones with real human voices, voice acting them, those are pretty good. But just like with the story about Trevor, there's only, I think, 3 or 4 of those on the entire app. And that's what they had always used to advertise the Hooked app. They acted like that was the whole app. When, you download it and there's only a couple that are actually like that, and the rest you gotta read and are much more boring. To me, this just seems like a classic case of false app advertising. It's a lot like all those mobile game ads that make it look like it's gonna be some AAA console game for your phone, and then you download it and you realize all they did was animate a fake cutscene to sell the game, but the actual game looks like this. I imagine they're making a decent amount of money. I mean, they already made $5 for me, because I signed up last week and forgot to cancel, just like I said I wouldn't. Maybe throw a little bit less money into all this false advertising and use some of that money to just hire more voice actors. It couldn't be that expensive to have a few people just go through and actually narrate some of these stories. It's not like they're that long. So just do that. And then it wouldn't be false advertising anymore. It would just be advertising. Final verdict, I give the Hooked app 2 bottles of poison out of 5. Well, with that being said, why don't we hear a word from our sponsor? I'm a hacker, and I'm here to steal your data and eat it. Here I go. Looks tasty. Can't wait to... Hi, I'm a different character. Are you worried about your online security? So was I. So I downloaded ExpressVPN, a service that encrypts my online data so that hackers like that dweeb over there can't get their grubby little fingers on it. Look, it's 2019. You do everything on the internet. You pay your bills online. You shop online. And if you're doing those things on an unsecured network, like say, a public Wi-Fi, you're at risk of your data being stolen. ExpressVPN makes sure that that doesn't happen by masking your IP address and locking up your data in a tiny little safe that only you know the combination to. And here's the best part, people who live in countries where some content is blocked by certain government regulations. Or if you just really wanted to watch Dark Knight and you were saving it for the right time, but then Netflix took it off for some reason. ExpressVPN will unlock regionally specific content by telling the internet that you're in that specific region. So I told Netflix that I was in France, which I'm not. And they were like, oh, well, in that case, would you like to watch Batman? Or how about other Batman? Or what about Spider-Man? That's right, the one with Tobey Maguire. You can't do that in America. So what are you waiting for? ExpressVPN is less than $7 a month with a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can get your first 3 months free by clicking the link in the description, expressvpn.com/Drew, to get 3 months free with a 1-year package. ExpressVPN is the fastest VPN. They have servers in 94 different countries, and they have an app for every device, not just your phone and computer. So get back to using the internet the way that you want to use it and be safe and anonymous in the process with ExpressVPN. Well, I guess I'll go flush myself down the toilet. That's awesome. Thank you so much to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's video and so many other videos in the past. You guys are the best. Well, as for me, I think I'm gonna get started writing my new book. It's a YA novel about a can of beans that comes to life and Man, can't believe I had to cancel my event. Oh well, guess I'll just get back to making commentary videos. It just sucks that the last 2 videos on my channel are, hey guys, I'm doing something. Never mind. You know, I really need to remind myself that even though I have a fan base, they're really only following me to see my videos, not pay a bunch of money to go to some overpriced, poorly put together event. Oh hey, Jake Paul's going on tour. That should be good. Hey little stinkers, and welcome back to youtube.com, a website I created 13 years ago while taking a nap. Today we're gonna be looking at the Team 10 tour. What is it? Why is it, and how the fuck did we get here? Let's read the description here to get an idea of what this tour might be about. You see them on your screen every single day. Now get ready to experience Jake Paul and Team 10 in person on their debut world tour. You can expect to see the same level of craziness on stage as you do on screen, mixed in with some exciting live musical performances, audience participation, special guests, games and challenges. It's going to be a jam-packed and unforgettable show. Yeah, that sounds great and all, but what do they mean by games and challenges? Are they just gonna be like singing songs and stuff? They're gonna stop in the middle to do like the cinnamon challenge? Are we gonna do a round of trivia with the audience? I'm almost certain that they were just like short on buzzwords during the 30 seconds it took to write out this description, and they were like, let's just say games and challenges. That sounds fun. But maybe I'm nitpicking. Let's watch the hype video, the announcement video for the tour.
14 million subscribers on YouTube. What is next?
We're doing a tour. We're going to 20 cities in the U.S. This show is like super next level. Like I am trying to make it a legit musical where we're acting, dancing, singing, twerking, laughing, the whole 9 yards, guys. I'm super excited to meet you guys.
I am literally so excited to meet all of my goats.
Maybe I'm behind on Team 10 lore, but I have no idea why she just did a goat sound. Also, why the random shot of her and Jake making out? Is that what they're gonna do at the show?
Tour's gonna be insane. I cannot wait. If you don't buy the tour tickets,
I guess their plan with this video was to just make a series of loud noises, hoping that that would be enough to convince their fans to buy tickets. Speaking of tickets, let's see how much they are. The first ticket advertised, the first one you see when you click on this venue. VIP 1, Jake Paul Gold VIP experience. $1,000. $1,000. That's more than my rent. Let's see what comes with that. 1 general admission ticket, priority viewing of the show. That to me sounds vague. That doesn't sound like anything. Pre-show hangout with Jake Paul and other members of Team 10. Autographs from Jake Paul and other members of Team 10. 1 personalized video. 1 meet and greet with Jake Paul. 1 selfie photo with Jake Paul. 1 Jake Paul backpack. 1 Jake Paul Team 10 jersey. Exclusive Jake Paul pin set. 1 signed and numbered lithograph. 1 exclusive holographic commemorative laminate, and an invitation to crowd-free merchandise shopping. I love that that's thrown into the $1,000 tier. Sure, you just spent $1,000 to go to a show and get some free merchandise, but in addition to that, you also get to shop for more merchandise without the hassle of a crowd weighing you down. Ticket fee, $135, bringing the subtotal up to $1,143. Why would the ticket fee, what does that mean? Is that the charge to print the tickets? What is the service fee exactly? And why isn't that just included in the $1,000? I also like that this website is like, oh, you're going to Jake Paul. You might also like Ted Nugent. If we were to make a Venn diagram of Ted Nugent fans and Jake Paul fans, the 2 circles would be in like separate rooms. Part of me kind of wants to spend $1,100 on the Jake Paul VIP experience just to see what it's all about, to see if it's worth the money, and of course, to get a chance to meet Jake Paul. But then there's this other part of me that's like, Drew, that would be the worst purchase you've ever made. Please don't do that. Even worse though, while those 2 parts of me were battling it out, a third part of me that I didn't even know about just bought 2 general admission tickets for me and Amanda. Here's a sentence I never thought I'd say. YouTube vlogger and disgraced former Disney Channel star Jake Paul is headlining his own show at the historic House of Blues. The same House of Blues built on a rich history of rock and roll icons such as Pearl Jam, Aerosmith, Yellow Card. But tonight, the stage belongs to Jake. It was a fittingly gloomy day outside. Contrary to popular belief, Florida summers are pretty consistently rainy, and today was no exception. As a result, everybody entered the building soaking wet and miserable. It was perfect. It's also worth noting that this particular House of Blues is nestled inside none other than Disney Springs, an outdoor shopping center owned by Jake's former employer. I imagine it was a real homecoming for him, and as such, my expectations were through the roof. Oh, speaking of the roof, someone on top of it is dabbing, and kids are cheering. Why does it feel like I won't make it out of here alive? The line to get in wrapped around the building and was filled to the brim with exactly the demographic you'd imagine would be in line for Jake Paul. After sidetracking a bit to take a selfie in front of the Team 10 tour bus, Amanda and I made our way back to the line, which moved pretty quickly once the doors opened. Once inside, we trekked straight to the bar, where I let Amanda buy any amount of alcohol she wanted, as an apology for making her come to this with me. While there, we were accompanied by hordes of soon-to-be drunk moms, most of whom probably could not even fathom the amount of discomfort that was to ensue. Over 30 minutes had passed since the show was slated to begin, and not a single person had come out on stage. No one knew when the show was going to start, or if it already had, and this silence was just the opening act. In an unsuccessful effort to provoke any form of entertainment, the sea of increasingly restless children combined in chant every couple of minutes. But to no avail. Jake and his gang were still nowhere to be seen. But then, graciously, at around 7:42 p.m., a human being entered the stage. The crowd screamed. The concert was about to begin. Oh, wait, no, that's not Jake. Who is that, actually? Is that Chance or Nick Crompton? No, he's not here. Oh, okay, there we go. His name is DJ EV. And let me just say, from the moment this guy walked out on stage, the energy in the room was unlike anything I've ever seen. 2, 3, jump! This guy kept asking every minute or so that people like his Facebook page. He also plugged Instagram about 9 times.
On Instagram, @EV
Normally this could be perceived as a bit of a slap in the face to artistic value or whatever, but I can't really blame him. Tonight is his one and only time to shine, and he knows it. I actually did some research on this guy after the show and found out he really only has a few original songs, and I only remember him playing one of them. He's pretty much been able to make a career out of getting on stage and playing other people's music. So good for him.
Shout out to the lighting crew, it's killing it tonight.
Indeed, they were killing it. Why? Just take a look at how the lights on the left match the lights on the right almost perfectly.
Y'all ready for our first performers tonight?
Finally, the DJ is done. Now it's time to bring out Team 10. Wait, who the fuck are these kids? They both look and sound like if a regular adult rapper got hit by a shrink ray. But I've gotta hand it to these guys for the way they managed to masterfully combine the repetition of Gucci Gang with the eloquent rapping only a pair of 10-year-olds could provide. They were energetic, they were loud, and the crowd loved it. Everyone on stage that wasn't Jake Paul seemed very aware that nobody cared about them, as they are not Jake Paul. Because of this, they would come up with ways every 30 seconds or so to remind people that Jake Paul is here. They'd ask something like, "Who's ready for Team 10?" The crowd would scream, thinking maybe they're about to come on stage, and then they'd just continue doing what they were already doing.
My new song called Oscars, it's out right now on iTunes and Spotify.
I think the funniest part of the entire show was when this girl Sunny hyped up the crowd before ending a song.
Are you guys ready to turn up?
Nice. It was at this point that I realized how much I underestimated the talent in this performance. Look at this girl, for example. She's able to sing words while mouthing different words. Absolutely incredible. All right, let's time out here for a second as we try to figure out who it actually is that people paid money to see. Sunny Maloof. There's a chance that name might ring a bell for you, and if it does, it's probably because you heard of this news story from a couple years back.
This private water park belongs to Texas' most famous dentist, Dr. Richard Maloof.
A dentist named Richard Maloof made headlines when he bought a $20 million home next to his $20 million home and attached them to create one $50 million super home. This man is Sunny's dad, and the $50 million house that he owns is where she grew up. The only reason I even bring that up is to answer a question that I had, which is, how do people like this, who have, no offense Sunny, but absolutely no talent, make it into a group as popular as Team 10? And the answer is money. Money that was not earned by these individuals, but rather by someone in their family. Like, her first song was a song about having $100,000 on her wrist. From what? She's 14. If she has a $100,000 bracelet or watch or Fitbit or whatever the hell, it was given to her. Another perfect example of this weird second-hand bragging was displayed by the very next performer to come out, Justin Roberts, which is quite possibly the least showbiz name I've ever heard. This guy's one and only song was about how he's been rich since he was 4. How does someone think it's cool to, in a song, brag about money that they were given? What? What we're witnessing here is an unprecedented lack of self-awareness in a group whose leader is the poster child for this kind of behavior. Hey, speaking of Jake, it's been over an hour and a half. Is that guy coming out on stage anytime soon? Well, most of my energy is long gone at this point, and my phone is already halfway dead, but at around 8:49 p.m., almost 2 hours after entering the building, Jake Paul has come out on stage. The gist of this opening sketch is that Jake from 4 years ago was having a bad dream where he mentions some references from the future. He wakes up on stage and monologues about all of the things he's going to do one day, why if he could only move to California.
If I'm gonna move to Los Angeles, I'm gonna need agents, I'm gonna need managers, I'm gonna need an apartment to live in.
I'm pretty sure only one of those things is true.
You know what? I'm gonna need a team if I move to Los Angeles.
Oh my God.
Y'all wanna be my team?
My favorite part of this introduction was how, as each of the individual members was getting their own inauguration, the people who had already come out had to just kind of
stand there awkwardly and look back at the screen. There's a pretty beautiful irony in the fact that more than half of Team 10's most iconic song is performed by people that are no longer in Team 10. So how do they get around this, you might ask? Maybe they'll write a new verse to show off some of their newer members like Sunny and Erica. Nah, just cut it off after a minute. Huh, I was wrong. I guess Jake and Erica making out was part of the show. Remember when Jake described the tour as a fun-filled musical with live-action comedy skits? I think this is one of them.
Chad, we can see your phone screen!
Uh-oh, Chad, buddy, we can see your screen, you silly goose. Wait, how do you keep getting the same girls to come back after you've already swiped left on them? Well, it turns out this whole sketch was made just to transition into their next song called Malibu, because the song is called Malibu and she's from Malibu, as indicated by the bold text under her name that wasn't under anybody else's. Yeah! Well, these guys are already a song and a half in. Good idea to go ahead and take a break. So they go backstage and eat KFC. There's this whole pre-recorded sketch where we're supposed to believe, I guess, that Jake and Anthony are backstage right now conceptualizing and creating a song that they released a year ago. And then naturally they came out and sang it.
Okay, please look up, let's go!
I was wondering when Logan was going to appear. This part was weird. Basically, Logan comes on fake FaceTime to get mad at Jake without ever saying what he did that made him mad. And then Jake was like, "But bro, I love you." And Logan was like, "Bro, I love you." And Amanda was like, "My beers have worn off, I'm leaving." I kind of wish I had done the same. Also, I know that like this FaceTime call isn't live. I know it's pre-recorded, but couldn't they have at least tried to make it seem live by recording Logan's part at night? Because these shows are at night. Like, why is it 10 p.m. in Orlando and 1 p.m. in Los Angeles? Oh well, at least the song is good. In an effort to pass the time, Jake did this thing where he just kind of asked the crowd to scream over and over again so we could prove Orlando is the most lit city. Not to brag or anything, but we did win. And this segment lasted over 3 minutes.
Now guys, you wanna have a dance party?
Dance party! Oh man, I really hope that means you guys are just gonna jump around on stage for a while you play other people's music. Yes, that's exactly what it meant. What a great way to spend over 10 minutes. All right, so at this point, I realized my phone was very close to dying, and if it did, I probably would have never been able to find Amanda after the show, so I stopped recording here, but I'm gonna borrow some footage I found from another YouTuber who uploaded this concert. This next segment was the worst part of the entire night. Cody and Noel already did a really good job of dismantling the song that this whole sketch is centered around, but the sketch itself, oh my God.
No one cares about the Revolutionary War, but I do know about Instagram.
You know when your dweeb-ass looking teacher sucks for trying to teach you boring shit instead of telling you about Instagram, so you get in his stupid little face and demand he teach you how to drive a car.
Teach me something like how to drive a Lambo.
Jake, you know there actually are teachers who will teach you how to drive. Like, you know that's a thing, right? But yeah, this idiot of a history teacher isn't telling you how to drive, so you should throw him out the window. That's a good idea. I'm glad you're showing this to kids all over the country. No! What is wrong with you? This song is a slap in the face to everybody. Please don't do that. But hey, you know what? I've gotta give him credit for this inspirational monologue he threw in next. It really changed my life. He talked about how important it is to smile every day and get good grades, and if you're feeling sad, don't be sad, just stop being sad. I think it really resonated with the young audience and made everyone feel good. So then he started singing a song about how he has way more money than you and his life is great and yours sucks.
I got some bad habits, flexed up, all is a habit.
Wow, what a night so far. I wonder what they're gonna do next though, because I'm pretty sure they're out of songs. So I guess they could just play one of their songs over again. Yep, that's what they do.
Every day, bro, with that Disney Channel stuff.
Team 10, Team 10. Well, guys, I'm back home now, wearing the same shirt I was wearing in the intro for some reason. I guess my final thoughts on this entire experience was, why did I do that? This is the second time I've spent money on a Jake Paul thing in order to make a video about how bad it is, and I'm starting to think that maybe I'm the one getting played here. I think the one positive that could have come out of this entire tour is that I'm hoping that the parents who came to the shows with these kids were finally able to witness firsthand the kind of shitty influence that this Team 10 group has on the people who watch their videos. The type of lifestyle and attitude that they promote, like idolizing the idea of making as much money as possible so you can brag about it to other people. Physically assaulting your teachers who are just trying to do their job? The optimist inside of me is thinking that all of the parents who came to these shows saw it and were like, oh, yeah, you're done watching Jake Paul, sorry. And if that's what they do, then the world will be a better place for it. For some reason on the website, it says Team 10 Tour 2018, as if to suggest that there will be more tours in the future. I just can't imagine a world where that happens. I think this was a one and done kind of deal. And if it is, I guess I'm happy I got to be a part of history. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. This one took forever to edit. I will probably never make a video like this again. I didn't want to just do like a straight up vlog. I wanted to like, you know, film it and narrate it and kind of create this story. And there was just so much footage and it was too much. Back to my regular content immediately, ASAP.
That was the worst. Like, I can't, yeah. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Hey guy, Lily Singh's talk show is bad. The jokes aren't funny, but her delivery makes them even worse.
What did the rock say to the flower? Okay, bloomer. Skinny jeans, favorite jeans, mom jeans. Sounds like a dope Genuine song. You know what I'm saying?
The segments seem half-baked and are often more confusing than they are funny.
Oh my God. I'm going to read you an old school definition, okay, and a new school definition of popular slang terms. And it's your job to guess the word and write it down as quick as you can.
Hey, this is straight up homework.
That's right.
And the entire show is set within the parameters of a dated format that they've made no attempt to try and modernize. It's a train wreck that I just can't bring myself to look away from. But it's also what I'm not totally surprised by. I knew almost immediately that this was gonna be bad. I think it was...
Your girl is getting her own NBC late night show.
There, that's when I knew. Because I've been familiar with Lily and her content for a long time, and Lily Singh is not a comedian. Let me explain. Lily is wildly successful. She has almost 15 million YouTube subscribers. She's been on Forbes top 10 lists. She has her own company. She wrote a book, and she is the first woman of color to host her own network late night show, which is fantastic. That's great that we're making those kinds of strides. Better late than never. I just wish she was good at it, so I didn't have to make this video. So if you haven't been following this saga as closely as I have, let me bring you up to speed. September 16th, pilot comes out, already a disaster.
I'm very confident and proud of our first episode. I mean, of all the episodes we shot thus far, but the first episode is like my little baby. I'm so proud of it. I can't wait for you to see it. I can't wait.
There were several reasons why Lily was immediately met with backlash, but more than anything else, it was because she seemed determined to try and figure out how many ways she could retell the same joke. Monologue about how she's not a white man. Song about how she's not a white man. Sketch about how she's not a white man. Sketch about how she's not a white man. Sketch about how she's not a white... I'm starting to think that Lily might not be a white man.
I ain't no white man.
Now I understand that as a straight white man myself, it's not really my place to be saying these things, and if I was the only one critiquing her in this way, then the problem would lie more with me than it did with Lily. However, this sentiment isn't so much coming from me as it is just me echoing what I've seen from top comments on these videos, from women, from people of color, so don't take my word for it, take it from them. My standpoint is simply from a comedic angle. Using the same joke over and over again shows a lack of creativity. This is the same reason a lot of people tend to not like Amy Schumer, because there's very little variety in her material and it gets stale quickly. Luckily, the other reason people don't like her is because she's also a notorious joke thief, so as long as Lily doesn't... Oh. Fun. But moving on past the show's rocky start, it did seem like after a while some things did start to change, though not necessarily for the better. For one, it seemed like NBC might have stepped in with some notes,
specifically about how the audience isn't laughing enough. Because all of a sudden, the monologues went from sounding like this
I hacked the mainframe.
to this.
My hair is so long that sometimes it gets stuck in my butt crack.
I swear, it sounds like they're either pumping in fake laughs during post-production or they started instructing the audience to make more noise even if it wasn't warranted. This actually leads to one of my many fundamental problems with the show, the audience. It is so awkward to watch any of the studio segments, which by the way is most of the show, because the crowd goes apeshit for every word that she says.
Because I remember the first time I came out to my friends as a vegetarian.
And it's so distracting because there's almost nothing authentic about these reactions. Sometimes they're not even just laughing at the jokes, they're laughing at the setups for the jokes.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm freezing.
What are you laughing at? She hasn't said the funny part yet.
The only vegetable I would ever eat is maybe a tomato, okay? If that tomato was mashed up and spread on some bread, okay? Maybe a little cheese on there, you know, bake it at 400 degrees. Okay, pizza, let's talk about pizza, okay?
They're just laughing the whole time she's talking. I get why they're probably directing the crowd to amp it up for the camera. For one, most of the jokes just aren't that good, so if they're only gonna laugh at things that are actually funny, it would be uncomfortably silent most of the time. But also, have you ever watched any other talk show? Not just late night shows. Ellen, Jerry Springer, shit, Dr. Phil. There's hundreds of people in these rooms. For some reason, I will assume budgetary reasons, NBC decided they only needed like 25 people for this show. At that point, you're almost better off having no audience because then there'd be no expectation for audible laughter, but instead they have to make up for how small the crowd is by instructing them to be unnaturally over the top with their reactions, and it's weird as hell.
Nowadays, you just know he's a creep if he's still spending time in AOL chat rooms.
There's times though where it's not the crowd and instead the editing team that did a terrible job of trying to sneak fake laughs into the show without it being obvious. Take this clip for example where they reuse the same sound twice.
An appropriate response would be to laugh or to comment, ha ha. An inappropriate response would be to slide into my DMs and comment, kinda funny. Could be hotter.
And it's such a distinct laugh. How did you think this would fly under the radar? It's so egregiously bad. In addition to these problems with the audience, the show itself is so overly scripted that it leaves no room for authenticity. The core of this show should be the celebrity interviews. It should be nearly impossible to mess these up. And yet they do, because the questions are so meticulously planned out and tightly structured that there's no room for banter or genuine moments. Everything Lily says in response to the guests leads so carefully into the next pre-planned question that it's just not fun to watch. You can see it on the guests' faces. They're not having a good time. Though in Lily's defense, this is generally a problem with most late night talk shows. The celebrities are always on these shows to promote something, so it's inevitable that the conversation will be led there. But at least with other shows like Conan or Seth Meyers, even Jimmy Fallon, it's a little bit more conversational. It feels like maybe they're following bullet points rather than like a verbatim script. And the appeal of these late night talk shows is to see celebrities you like in like a natural habitat where they're just being themselves, telling a story, whatever it is, not doing some poorly written bit that her writing staff came up with. A perfect example of what I'm talking about was this episode with Jenny Slate and Kathryn Hahn. And the interview segment was actually great. Jenny Slate is very funny and she was able to just tell a story and Lily didn't interrupt too much. It was fun. I would have liked to see 10 more minutes of this, but instead they come back from commercials and do this almost 7-minute long game, I guess, where they're not really talking to each other anymore. It's just Lily holding up pictures and reading some dumb joke off cue cards and then they're just like, oh. And I don't understand why you can't just talk to them for 15 minutes. Why can't that be what this show is? You're 3 comedians, right? So just be funny, talk to each other, be natural, it'll be funny. Why does every segment of the show have to rely on some lazily written script? The absolute worst case of a segment being too scripted was this Halloween phone call with Hassan Minhaj. As you can see, she's dressed up like him, and as you can probably guess, she's going to call him.
We should give him a call. He actually has no idea I dressed up as him.
Hey, Lily, what's up? Oh my God, are you serious?
Oh my God, are you serious?
Okay, this is all scripted.
Lily!
Lily!
Stop.
Stop.
And not only is it all scripted, but the main joke of the script is that she's just repeating everything he says like how a child does to annoy their sibling. This is a really awesome joke.
because I am not. Wouldn't this have been better if you, I don't know, actually surprised him? Wouldn't that have been more entertaining? Why even do a segment like this if you know it has to be a pre-recorded video where the punchlines were written for children? Oh hey, a transition. Remember earlier when I said Lily Singh isn't a comedian? This is what I'm talking about. Going through her most viewed YouTube videos, you start to understand why so many of the jokes on her show seem to be targeted at children.
But I think we can make this more relatable with the caption, "Mom said I could sleep over!"
Because she's always targeted her jokes at children. Like she used to make sketches about parents and school and parents and school. She carved a niche for herself on YouTube by making edgy humor for children, which is okay, I guess, to do on the internet if that's your thing, but now she's hosting a talk show that comes on at 1:35 in the morning? I just don't get it. This is why I will never understand why a YouTuber, a successful YouTuber, would want to go from a job where you can essentially do whatever you want. You're beholden to nobody. You can make the type of content you want to make. To go from that to network television, the strictest creative medium that there is? Why? And if you're Lily, why stray so far away from the content you've proven you're capable of making? You used to do surface level observational humor for children, and now you're hosting a talk show. It just doesn't make sense. It seems like she set herself up to fail. Why did she think she could do this? Oh, I know why. It's because YouTubers think they can do anything. If I had to choose one job where the people who do the job have the biggest ego in the world, it would without a doubt be YouTubers. And I'm including myself in this. I'm guilty of this too. There is perhaps no greater feeling for a YouTuber than to upload a video, see that it's doing well, scroll through a bunch of comments that are mostly positive, maybe even get a random text from another YouTuber whose opinion you respect, and he says, "Great video," and you're like, "Thanks, wow," and it goes straight to your head, and you feel like the coolest, funniest, smartest person on earth. And it's a great feeling, it really is. But it also blinds you to reality. You're never as good as the overly positive comments will make you seem, and you're never as bad as the negative comments will make you seem, but it's important not to absorb that and let that influence how you feel about yourself. Even if it's good feedback, it's important not to take that on and just have an ego that goes through the roof. I imagine this is probably what Lily Singh experienced for a long time. For several years, she made videos that were mostly very positively received by a lot of people. She was able to read thousands of comments from child fans who don't know what comedy is yet, but she could look at them and say, "Wow, I'm so talented and funny. People love me. I could do anything." And now she's left the comfort of that YouTube bubble and thrown herself to the wolves, and I think maybe for the first time it's suddenly hitting her, oh my God, maybe I'm not as funny as I thought I was. Her entire career, she's had millions of people tell her, "Lily, you're so funny, you're perfect," and I think there's a chance it boosted her confidence a little bit too much. I think ego management is something that a lot of YouTubers struggle with. It's an important part of the job, filtering through large amounts of excessively positive comments without letting it go to your head. I know for me it's a bit of a cycle. Like generally my best creative efforts come when I'm a little down on myself, like maybe my last video didn't do very well, or I just don't feel very funny right now. So suddenly I have an urge to prove to people, no, I am funny. So I work even harder. I'm inspired to stay up all night editing something. And oftentimes that extra effort leads to a video that is well received, and I get all that great positive feedback again, and I start to buy into it and feel really good about myself. And then I suddenly lose that desire to work as hard, and I just play video games for like 4 days straight until I feel like shit about myself again, and the cycle continues. So that's how my ego usually manifests itself. And I think for a lot of YouTubers, it's a similar thing where at the height of their ego, they are at their worst while simultaneously feeling invincible. It's why Logan Paul, during the peak of his relevance, probably thought, I could never fuck up. And then he did fuck up, and it came as a huge shock to him.
I've made a severe...
I think there was just no way that YouTube was going to prepare Lily for the storm of hatred she's been receiving, and now she's in self-defense mode. Lily strikes me as the kind of person who, when her abilities are questioned, resorts to bragging about her accomplishments to validate herself to her naysayers. Don't believe me? Here's a compilation of that.
I always thought that by 30 I would be married with a few kids and be living in a mansion. Who knew getting a mansion would be the easiest thing on that list? I actually just changed my Instagram handle to @Lily. That's right, just Lily. I'm famous. Raya is invite only, which means everyone on it is either a celebrity or an insanely beautiful person. I was invited. And in the last decade, I've gained about 15 million subscribers. I've written a book as well. You've written many, but I've written a book, and I know it's hard. Writing a book is very hard. He could leave his family and come live with me at my house. I'm probably gonna be making all the money anyway. I have a lot of money.
No other talk show host or comedian would even think about talking like this because it comes off as so pompous. It turns people against you. Can you imagine Conan coming out and doing a monologue like, guys, tonight I just want to talk a little bit about how rich I am, and I'm better than you, and I'm very tall, and I'm rich.
He won't be crying when I drive him away from his parents' house in my Tesla. Just saying.
No one wants to hear people brag about how much money they make. There's nothing comedic or relatable about that. But Lily's facing more backlash right now than she ever has, so her instinct is to combat that by saying things like, guys, I'm actually pretty successful, and this show's really good.
We're actually one of the few shows to have 100% fresh ratings from critics. Can we take a moment?
I don't know if you saw, but Emily, you know Emily over at Cosmopolitan, she said this show's actually pretty good, and so I don't know why you don't like it. I mean, we all know that 10 critic ratings are more important than over 1,000 user ratings that say the total opposite. Also, fuck you, I'm rich. Here's another miscellaneous gripe I have about her show. She has this segment called Gift Baskets, where she basically takes a few people who have messed up in some way and she fills a basket for them with a bunch of bad jokes. And it's a pretty good idea for a segment, but I realized after watching them all how often the punchline is just penis small.
The golden snitch is from a game in Harry Potter, and they're the smallest balls in the game. So basically the same size as yours. I got the travel size because I can't imagine your tiny penis would need any more than that. Here's a penis.
You have a team of professional writers, and this is the best they could come up with? Or here's another joke I really enjoyed about producer Todd Phillips. She spitefully points out that the first movie he ever directed has a bad Rotten Tomatoes score. I found this to be especially ironic given that the movie she's calling out has a higher audience rating than her own show. Now that's funny. I will say part of me empathizes with her. She's obviously trying very hard to make this work. I think she's just in over her head. She posted a vlog recently going through a day in the life as a head of a talk show, and oh my God, I got stressed just watching it. She goes through the details of a standard like 14-hour work day where she's filming 2 shows, going through constant makeup and wardrobe changes. She's filming other bits for the show. She's managing a huge staff of people that are all looking to her for direction, and it's clearly starting to wear on her.
A big part of this, if I'm just candid with all of you, is this is a lot. It's like a lot to learn. I'm always tired. Everything I experienced previously in my life, I feel like I experienced it now tenfold. You know, before there was 3 people making videos about me online, now there's 100 people making videos about me online that are mean.
I kind of feel like at this point, maybe she's no longer in denial about the show and she knows that it's just not very good, but also she's trapped in it.
We're gonna do this. We're committed to this.
The show needs big, sweeping changes in order for it to get better, but there's no time to do that because they're already in the middle of making like 90 episodes. So if it's new writers that they need or a bigger studio that they need, they can't really stop and do anything about that right now because they're too busy drowning trying to make the best of what they have. It's also a case where they have shows that are airing in like December and January that they filmed in like August. So even if they are trying to adapt the show, they can't retroactively change something that's already been written and filmed, except by adding more laughs. This is why patience is so important when it comes to late night talk shows. Very rarely are they a finished product overnight. I remember when Seth Meyers started his show, he did what every other late night show host did, and he came out and he delivered a monologue, and it was kind of weird because everyone knew him from this, and now he's doing this, and he just wasn't very good at this. And so you know what they did? They stopped doing that. They adapted the show. They put him back behind a desk, they used graphics to enhance his punchlines, and now it's much more comfortable to watch because they tailored the show to fit the strengths of the person hosting. And this is what desperately needs to happen to A Little Late with Lily Singh. Right now, she's just doing a condensed version of every other late night show. So don't do that. Change the format. Make it your own. The monologues are not her strengths, which makes sense because she doesn't have a stand-up background, so it's not inconceivable that she wouldn't be natural in this setting, but if that's the case, then don't do a traditional monologue. Maybe the interviews could be longer and a little bit looser so it doesn't feel like Mindy Kaling is being held hostage. Also, while I do respect her decision not to talk about politics on her show, avoiding current events altogether kind of renders the show pointless. Like, whether or not you agree with the politics of someone like Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert, there's still a reason for people to watch these shows because they're covering topics that are relevant to millions of people. Lily Singh is doing 5-minute monologues about how her hair is long. How do you expect people to tune in and care about that?
I mean, clearly they don't. No one is watching this show. One of the only times I've ever seen her try to do something topical was when they referenced the OK Boomer meme, but the entire segment was literally just puns.
What did the guy say to his questionable medical test results? Okay, tumor.
Team of professional writers. 2.5 minutes of puns. And to make matters even worse, it didn't even do well. Keep in mind, we're talking about someone who has 15 million YouTube subscribers, and most of the clips on her show's channel don't even have 100,000 views. Universally beloved actor Nick Offerman has a secret talent. 14,000 views. Nick Offerman 2 weeks ago on Hot Ones, a YouTube show, 4 million views. It's almost like you don't need to be on network television to produce high quality content that a lot of people will see. And YouTube is a totally valid platform where you can build a loyal audience of supportive followers instead of being exposed to the inevitable criticism of a broad mainstream audience. It's almost like that because it is like that.
Was this a bad idea?
Yes. Originally, I was going to end the video there, but there's one more thing I want to talk about that I think does a good job of summarizing both the points I was trying to make with this video. The most frustrating thing about Lily, and what I think will ultimately lead to the downfall of her show, is that she cannot handle criticism. Since her show has started, there have been a ton of people providing rational criticism, constructive criticism, that she just brushes off as hate. Dozens of YouTube videos critiquing her show, explaining not just what's wrong with it, but also how it can be improved. And her response is, imagine posting mean videos to YouTube. Aww. Criticism is not mean. It's not mean to say, hey, I think you could be better if you did this. That's helpful. That's how you improve. Yes, plenty of the comments she's receiving are not helpful at all. There are people just saying, you know, women aren't funny, they're saying racist shit, and that's fine to ignore all that because those people are wrong. But you're lumping those kinds of comments in with useful criticism and just ignoring all of it.
What I've done here is I have gathered some positive comments. The reviews are from places like The Atlantic, Variety, CNN, Decider, Cosmopolitan, Deadline. Whereas before there were negative reviews from like Angry Virgins.
Yep, that's right. If you dare dislike the great Lily Singh, then you're just an angry virgin. The 3,000 or so ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb were written by people who've never had sex before, and that's why they're so mad. Look, Lily, I understand. It doesn't feel good to receive negative feedback. Obviously, you would prefer to just have people tell you you're great and you're funny and everything's perfect, if it's true. But if there are areas where you can improve and you're not going to be honest enough with yourself to recognize that, you at least need the people around you to be blunt and tell you how you can get better. Otherwise, you won't. And it's concerning because in that same vlog, you said this.
And everyone here is way too nice to me and they never want to call me out about anything.
Okay, it's one thing to ignore comments on the internet. That's fair. But even your staff, your writers, your producers, none of them are calling you out on anything? Well, that's a recipe for disaster. Sure, maybe that helps spare your feelings in the short term, but in the long term, it's gonna be the reason your show fails because you're too stubborn to adapt. Lily thinks that because she used to be successful on YouTube, I'll remind you by making content for children, that she knows better than everyone else, and she will not value your opinion unless you're saying something nice about her. Weird, why does that sound so familiar?
I don't like cyberbullies, and you're a cyberbully.
Oh, that's right. Okay, well, good luck with your show, Lily. Sorry for being mean. I want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Raycon, for sponsoring this video. Guys, are you tired of this? Me too. Which is why I'm glad I started using Raycon's E25 wireless earbuds. They sound great, they feel good in my ear, and they're stylish as hell. They're so discreet, I bet you didn't even notice I've been wearing them in this entire video. Please don't rewind and check, just believe me. One reason I find myself using these earphones over the other headphones I have is because I like to listen to music as I fall asleep, and as you can probably imagine, it's super uncomfortable to have giant bulky headphones on your head while you're trying to lay on a pillow, so popping these in my ears sends me right to sleep every night. Thanks, Raycon. They're also great for working out, which is something I did once, because there's no dangling wires and they feel super snug in your ear. Not only do Raycon earbuds sound as good as other premium brands, but they also start at about half the price, and in addition to that, they've got a bunch of great Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals going on this weekend, so check that out. Click the link in the description. They come in a bunch of different styles and colors, and they currently have 14,000 5-star reviews, so how about that? Get yourself a pair at buyraycon.com/DrewGooden. It's a great way to get a cool pair of headphones and also support my channel in the process. Thank you to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys so much for watching it, and remember, if you ever criticize someone, you will go to jail.